Hey there, 8th graders. Welcome to today's Explainer. I am so incredibly pumped to have you here because today we are tackling a seriously vital life skill, how to build and evaluate strong arguments. Have you ever been in a heated debate with a friend, or maybe you read something crazy online and you just kind of sat there wondering, is any of this actually true? Well, by the end of this lesson, you're going to know exactly how to separate rock-solid facts from totally bad advice, making sure you are never easily misled again. All right, let's dive right in. So, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, claims need strong legs. Second, establishing truth through witnesses. Third, spotting weak versus strong evidence. Fourth, building an unshakable case. Then we'll do a quick test of your skills, and finally, we'll wrap up with the godly learner's path.
All right, Section 1. Claims need strong legs.
Now, I want you to imagine something for a second. Imagine you're about to lean all your weight on this beautiful, heavy, polished wooden table. But right as you lean in, you realize it literally has no legs. What happens? Well, it falls completely flat, right? It just crashes to the floor. Your arguments actually work the exact same way. A supporting argument is basically the evidence, the facts, or the reasoning. Think of them as the legs that hold up and prove a claim. Without these sturdy legs underneath it, any claim you make, no matter how loudly or confidently you say it, is really just an opinion floating in the air. Think about it like this. Let's say you march up to your parents and declare, I should definitely have a later curfew. Okay, that's a claim. But if your only backup reason is, well, because I want one, your argument has zero legs. It crashes straight to the floor. If you want people to actually take your ideas seriously, you have got to build strong legs to support them.
Moving right along to Section 2, establishing truth through witnesses.
You know, gathering evidence isn't just some dry academic skill you only use to write school papers. It is actually a deeply biblical mandate. God cares immensely about how we go about discovering and upholding the truth. Just look at this absolutely powerful verse from Deuteronomy 19:15. It says, "By the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses the matter shall be established." God requires us to seek out real evidence, what he calls witnesses, to firmly establish what is undeniably true. He absolutely does not want us making hasty judgments based on simple rumors or just one person's unsupported opinion. Seeking out solid evidence is a very real, tangible way of seeking his truth in our everyday lives.
So, to be a wise learner and a really strong thinker, your witnesses, or your evidence, have to meet 3 very specific criteria. First up, the evidence has to be relevant. It must actually connect to the claim you're trying to make. Going back to that curfew example, bragging about how awesome you are at video games? Yeah, totally irrelevant to staying out late. But showing a solid track record of completing all your chores on time? Now that is relevant. Second, it absolutely must be credible. That means it comes from a trustworthy, reliable source. If you're doing a science project, citing a renowned scientist is a credible source. Some random guy yelling on a YouTube video? Probably not credible. And third, it needs to be specific. Broad, sweeping guesses just don't count as facts. You need exact numbers, clear examples, and well-defined situations. Mastering these 3 criteria, relevant, credible, and specific, will absolutely shield you from being tricked or manipulated, whether you're in a debate or just scrolling online.
Okay, Section 3, spotting weak versus strong evidence.
Let's actually put this into practice with a real-world example about school lunches. This will help us clearly separate strong facts from weak opinions. Imagine 2 students are arguing that schools should offer much healthier food. Student A steps up and says, "A recent study shows that students who eat balanced meals score 20% higher on tests." Wow, okay, that is incredibly strong. It's specific, it cites outside research, and it gives us a hard number. That argument has thick, sturdy legs. Now imagine student B just says, "Well, I think it's nice to have healthy options." While that might be a pleasant thought, and hey, it's definitely true for the person saying it, it is completely opinion-based. It's terribly weak. It doesn't actually prove anything to someone who might disagree. It literally has no legs to stand on.
Let's look at Section 4, building an unshakable case.
So how do we make sure our own arguments are rock solid? We have to learn how to build an unshakable case. The absolute best, most convincing arguments don't just rely on one single lonely fact. They build a foundation that is incredibly hard for anyone to tear down. Step 1. State a crystal clear claim so your audience knows exactly what you are arguing. Don't leave them guessing, get straight to the point. Step 2. Provide research data or statistics. Remember, numbers and studies are strong legs. They show that you've put in the work to find the objective truth. And step 3, layer in real-life examples and expert testimony. When you start combining multiple types of evidence, like putting cold hard data right next to a compelling story from a credible expert, your argument becomes nearly impossible to refute. You've basically just built a table with 4 massive, unbreakable legs that can withstand a ton of weight.
All right, Section 5. Let's test your skills. You have absorbed a lot of fantastic information so far. Now it is time to really put those 8th grade brains to work. We are going to do a quick, interactive knowledge check based on real scenarios you might actually face when talking with your friends. Here is your first challenge. Imagine someone makes the claim, online school is better, and literally the only evidence they give you is, well, my friend says so. Think about it for a second. Is this evidence strong or is it weak? If you said weak, you hit the nail on the head. Why? Because a friend's personal opinion simply is not a credible, researched fact. It's not specific, and it doesn't give us any actual data to prove the claim. It's just hearsay.
Okay, let's try another one. Check out this claim. Social media should have time limits for teens. What kind of specific evidence would actually prove this? I'll give you a second to brainstorm. So think back to our 3 rules: relevant, credible, and specific. You definitely wouldn't just say, because I get a headache when I look at my phone. Instead, you'd want expert testimony, maybe from a medical doctor discussing teenage brain development. Or you could pull specific statistics showing exactly how excessive screen time negatively impacts students' sleep schedules and grades. That is exactly how you apply relevant, credible, and specific evidence to build an airtight argument.
Taking a step back for a minute, why is this also deeply important? Why must we always look for credible evidence instead of just blindly trusting whatever we hear? Because relying on credible evidence is your ultimate shield. It literally protects you from being misled by bad advice, false information, or manipulative people in your day-to-day life. It ensures you are actually living in reality, guided by the truth, rather than just being tossed around by the latest rumors.
And finally, Section 6, the Godly Learner's Path. As we wrap things up today, we really need to transition from the basic mechanics of writing an argument to the much deeper spiritual reason why we even bother mastering these skills. At HeroesMart Academy, we intentionally intertwine biblical morality with your education for a very specific reason, because education without morality can actually hurt you. Simply being smart isn't enough. If you have all this knowledge but no moral grounding, you can so easily use that knowledge for the wrong things, tearing other people down instead of building them up. Our goal isn't just to make you a sharper debater. Our goal is true intelligence. And true intelligence means using your knowledge to make wise, righteous, and God-honoring choices every single day.
The scriptures remind us of this beautifully. Romans 8:6-7 teaches us that keeping the mind spiritually minded leads to life and peace. So, as you continue to pursue academic excellence, as you learn to build these incredible, unshakable arguments and dig deep for the facts, I want to strongly encourage you to keep your mind centered entirely on God, on His truth, and on His wisdom. Don't just seek to be right in an argument, seek to be righteous.
So, I want to leave you with this final provocative question to chew on. Will you use your ability to seek the truth to honor God today? Next time you hear a wild claim, will you diligently look for those witnesses and the strong evidence, proving that you are a wise and righteous thinker? I know for a fact you have the tools to do it now. Go out there, seek the truth, build those strong arguments, and make wise choices that lead to life and peace. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will see you in the next lesson.